Hi, guys. Welcome to our episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the other two big foundation for us, and it's going to be fitness and fun. And we truly believe with those two things, I mean, it kind of coincide. You can have a lot of fun in fitness and, vice versa. But that really helps us going because it's one thing when we are in the grind, in the trenches, working really hard, but you also have to kind of take care of yourself and make sure that you're good physically, mentally, emotionally. And so that's a big part of our lives. And so I definitely want to get into it right away. So let's talk about it.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to talk about, what was your fitness journey and your diet before getting into it from the beginning?
Yes, no, great question. Well, luckily for me, I grew up always doing something with physical, like fitness and sports. So I was like that kid, like very young, where I was always doing like cartwheels and like loved PE and like, I was just always active. And in my household, they ate really good food, but like jumbo jacks, we had donuts, we had whatever we could afford, basically. We had Taco Bell, the whole thing. But
Guilty pleasure.
yes, the goods. And I want to say I was around 8 years old. My cousin, she was taking swimming lessons at a big like gym, and it had a gymnastics area, and then it had like swimming pool. And I was fixed on the gymnastics window. Like she would go, and my dad, I think, saw me, but I was like in love with just watching the sport. And my dad saw, and thank God he was able to put me in gymnastics. So I always always physical and, active, but gymnastics was a big part of my life because it taught me discipline. It taught me how to overcome your fear, because when you're having to throw yourself over and do a backflip and do stuff on a beam, it definitely helps with that. And being on a team, seeing other people do that as well, it really helped me grow. And so that's always been like I feel like foundation in my fitness journey. And it was funny because I had my own little cabinet at home where I would get my own little healthy food because coaches would tell us what to eat. And so I got exposed to that very young, thankfully. And I would just eat like lettuce and carrots and strawberries, whatever we could afford. They would give me my own little grocery as a young kid. And it helped me like that. I can't even express how much that has shaped me in my fitness life now. And I give so much credit to my dad and my mom for, sacrificing and getting me there. And but after that, I went into cheer in high school. So I quit gymnastics and always had dreams to like do something in the Olympics, but didn't quite get there. So
cheer going.
Yeah, I went to cheer. It's never too late. No, but I think it's too late for that. But and I went to cheer, and then again was in a team. I was in varsity and tumbled, and I just loved flipping and the whole thing. And I always wanted to keep myself in good shape. So I started following the trends that you hear, like eat protein, eat rice, eat your veggies. It was very bland. And this is back when I ate meat. I no longer eat meat anymore or fish, but yeah, so I would follow that, and it felt good to me at the time. Felt really good. And I felt like I had discipline in that. That's the one thing I've always had discipline in. And it helps my mind. It helps my energy. I'll get into that here too, but that's kind of my transition. And then after high school, no longer in cheer, waking up 6 a.m. for practice and like hardly awake. After that, I really took on the gym.
Yeah.
So really love the gym. And with the gym, there's different phases I went through with that too, where I was lifting a lot of weights. Like I really want to get a big butt and legs and, look toned, like the wrong reasons, basically. I'm sure people might be able to relate with that, women.
AKA women.
Yes. I mean, men too, you never know. But yeah, I was just really trying to live to look good, to be honest. And I felt good, but I found myself like getting injured or, it wasn't like, I didn't feel as fluid and healthy. And so years on, it's like a trial and error, I truly think.
Yeah, I think it becomes different when you become an adult because you
Mhm.
don't have that like routine or like a coach telling you.
No.
So then I think a lot of people kind of like they're like don't know where to go and how to like figure it out,
100%.
because I think everybody feel that, because it's one thing when being in cheer,
Mhm.
because we were both in, well, we didn't
Mhm.
know each other,
Yeah.
but we were both in cheer. But it's like you get that routine of like waking up in the morning 5:30 and you're in that
Mhm.
practice, like throwing people, all of that, and running. And then when you don't have that structure, when you are going off to college and things like that, it's just different.
Mhm.
So how long did that take you, like, to kind of figure out and adjust to like your own routine?
It was right away. During that time, I had like somebody that worked at a gym,
Mm-hmm.
and they let me come in for free, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, let me get used to this, because it is intimidating. Like,
Mhm.
there's so many machines, there's people that are like doing this. So thankfully, like, it was right before high school, and it was probably even my sophomore year I started getting in there a little bit. But yeah, that was my in, is somebody worked there, so I
Mhm.
felt comfortable like going in.
Yeah.
But I think what you mentioned is like there's so many different plans and nutrition and like workouts, and like, how do I start if I don't have a
Yeah.
coach and I can't afford it?
Yeah.
I literally looked up things online.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I really use now, thankfully, is Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get bored of workouts, Instagram's a good place to go. And there's so many different fitness like experts and people who do it by example.
Mhm.
I look at their physique, I look at their nutrition, their habits, and I'm like, I want to be like them. So
Mhm.
what are they doing?
Mhm.
But yeah, before that, it was just getting in and just drips in the bucket, as I
Mhm.
say, and just showing up each day. And trust me, I felt very uncomfortable. Like, when you feel your stomach or your fat, like you can feel uncomfortable. And I felt that way. And I was like, you know what? This is not going to be like this way forever, though, as long
Mhm.
as I do this.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say you just have to focus on like taking accountability and going
Mhm.
anyway and
Mhm.
figuring it out.
Yeah.
Kind of like business, kind of like a relationship, right? You get into it and you just figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for you, right? And cheer, I know you did that in high school, and that's how we knew each other in a way. But what was that like for you, even like growing up? Because I know you did, was it karate or something in
You're like, what is
Korea?
it? Yeah,
What
I
was your
actually have a
journey?
black belt, guys. So don't mess
Yes.
with me. No,
Don't play with
I
her.
ain't scared. No, that was like, I did swim, and then I did piano, like everybody. That's not sports, but and
It's a
then
hobby.
taekwondo. So it was very physical. Like I was constantly like breaking woods in class,
Wow.
like.
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah. Like high kicks, like running,
Wow.
and yeah, so it's like a lot of physical work that you do. But it was interesting because when I moved to, obviously, to America, I didn't have those activities that I could do because I couldn't go to school for a while, and like I was just home. So it was definitely weird period where I couldn't really be physical, and it was just my mom would be at work all the time, so it was just like literally me at home watching TV. That was it.
What did you love most about taekwondo and like karate?
I would say that just being like in the zone, because like it's like anything that you get into, I feel like you kind of are in the zone, and it's a feeling you get, and nothing else like matters at that point. You're just in the zone and just trying to accomplish the thing, and just like physical strength. And also like we make a lot of like weird like noise, and like but it's like mental.
Why
And
do they do noises like that? I never knew. Like, what's the
honestly,
purpose?
now that, because I haven't been in it, I forget.
You're young.
But I just I don't remember why, but I every time it was like a form of like focus, and like just, and it's weird when you just like see that, but when you're in it, you're just like, it just, I don't know, it just like overflows within your body. You can't, like, you don't have distraction.
It makes sense. And almost to me, from just seeing it, I've never done it, but it almost seems like a form of release.
Mm-hmm.
like all energy focused, like you said, and like that noise maybe is like almost like a breathing is what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
And it's just like an energy that's pushed out, and there's so much power with that.
And you're just so focused on that, like just like in strength, like you're not thinking about other things. I mean, I'm sure when I was a kid, it's not like I had other things like I was thinking of, like, you know,
stressed
as a kid again. But yeah, it's a form of focus and dedication and mental toughness, pushing yourself through. I really miss it now, but that was my form of when I was growing up. And then obviously coming to this country, and you know, when I started obviously high school and things like that, I tried different sports and I was like never good. I tried volleyball, like basketball, because and nobody taught me how to. It was actually interesting. Nobody taught me how to play or what the rules were. You know,
didn't you have a funny basketball game or something?
I will never forget. It's like so traumatizing because
what happened?
People from Gilbert Christian will, if you were on the team with me, you know, like okay,
if you know, you know,
is on the basketball team. Like, okay, is there supposed to be 5 or 6 people?
You're asking the wrong Chica. I did not do basketball either. Disclaimer, I can't do anything with a ball, so I'm with you on that. That's why I threw people up and cheer. But
so there's 2 incidents. Okay, stop right now. 2 incidents. One of them, I didn't understand the difference between defense and offense, and every time that I was really good at defense, and I think it's because it took it from like Taekwondo. Like I was always defense mode, and I was going like this, and I was like, everybody on my team is like offense. So imagine 2 people actually like who's like, you know, and I didn't know, and I after I realized.
You're
and they're
a traitor.
Like, no, they would always like do, what is it? Like,
time out.
It was because of me. And even when I had the timeout, I didn't know it was about me until like I was like, oh, was that because of me? Like after the fact. And then another story is like, I think they did timeout probably because of me. And then they replaced me, but I didn't know. So I was like, okay.
Okay, she's got grit though. For real.
They're like, and then they did timeout again.
You didn't want to get off.
Like, why is there 6 people or 10 people on the court?
Okay, I need to take
and the next thing I know, I'm on the bench.
I didn't know this.
So anyway, that's why I don't get embarrassed with a lot of things.
Yeah, she got it out.
Whatever. Anyways, that was that. Volleyball, I mean, it was fine. Then cheer, though, I really liked.
Keep going.
And that was really cool. Waking up in the morning, you know, I feel understanding. You're crying.
Yeah, I don't cry often, but you made me cry.
She's imagining me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways. So cheer, the routine, the morning. Yes, that was
running,
really nice.
And I think because it's a maybe because girly sports. I mean, it is sports athlete, but I just felt like I could be more involved, and it was a team effort, and I didn't feel out of place like basketball.
Absolutely.
So I felt like it's something I can get involved in, and so I wanted to try that's where like I think the team effort and just like commitment also started coming, like, you know, what I used to do with Taekwondo, it kind of started transitioning into cheer, and that was really, really great. And I think everybody should get into some sort of sports, especially when you're a kid, or if you have kids, like put them in sports, like even though they say they don't want to be in it, you know, but I think it being around other people and other kids, it's going to help you, you know. And it translate sports is a great example for being in business, you know, and that mental toughness, working with others, you know. And so yeah, I think that's been my journey when growing up as far as physical sports. Yeah.
I love it. And after high school, so now kind of what you touched on, there's that awkward, like, how do I keep this going? What did you do? How do you stay active?
I was awkward for a while.
A little cricket for a second.
And honest. And I was never like, I was the type of person that was like, I didn't really care to like work out, honestly. Like I just didn't go to the gym, and you know, like I just ate what I wanted to eat. But a lot of my growing up eating was like obviously Korean food, and a lot of Korean food is a lot healthier than you know, American food. So like I didn't have like terrible diet, but I did eat what I wanted to eat, you
Hot
know?
Cheetos.
Yeah. I still do sometimes.
Same.
It's like guilty pleasure, you know?
That's our guilty pleasure. And
Mhm.
we'll touch on
Yeah.
that.
It's my birthday month, you know?
Yeah. Just
So, Cheetos.
yeah. You
But-
ruined your surprise, but anyway.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I just was not, and I would always say like, oh yeah, health, fitness is just not my thing, not my thing. And it wasn't until I started getting into business and wanting to like work on every areas of my life, and just like
Mhm.
what we're talking about, like the 6 foundations that we have.
Mhm.
And especially I was like, if I want to be an example for others and I want to grow in these areas, like I want other people to grow. I can't, tell them to do something what I don't do,
Absolutely.
and then that's when I started to really getting into like fitness and wanting to change that. But it was a while before I even like wanted to change, or I was like, that gym is not my thing. Like that was like my excuse,
Yeah.
because I didn't feel like, I was fine the way, I felt like,
Mhm.
until I was like, okay, well, I'm turning 20, like when I was mid 25. And then I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't want this to be like in my adult, like, well, later adulthood. I want to be able to, because I think it's a lot easier when you keep it up, obviously, than to like when by the time you're 35 trying to get into it, right? It's just different and it's harder. So I wanted to start training my body to be able to be comfortable with it, and to have mental clarity.
Yeah.
in
I'm so
business.
proud of you for doing that, because it's harder to make up for all those years and getting yourself in maybe an unhealthy spot. It happens so often. And our parents, right? You see them in like 50s, 60s, and like those who stay active, like your mom, my dad,
Oh my
super,
gosh,
super active.
yeah.
I'm like, you guys are aging backwards. So I
Yeah.
want to, follow
My
those
mom works out
footsteps.
every day at home.
Yes, there's no excuse. And, there's a good thing too with the transition, the mindset behind it, because you really, like, I could hear you talking about it, and it literally transitioned your mindset about it. And even from like my point of view, where I was always around it, I had to change the reason why I did it. And yes, looking good was one of the big things, like starting off. I just knew though, like deep down, that I saw my mom, she has multiple sclerosis. So like in her 30s, she was in a wheelchair. She was not able to walk. She took medication because of her illness, and she was, not happy with her weight. So it's like, I wanted to do everything in my power not to have to run into that same situation, because when you have an illness like I do, things can happen like that. So that was a big change too in mindset, was like, I want to just feel healthy. And then moving from like what you hear online, and like you hear so many different nutrition like advice, but like going from eating your protein, grains and veggies and fruit, to like what actually nourishes my body. What do I actually like to eat that I can make delicious? And it's actually fun. That's fun. Figuring out different recipes that you can enjoy making, and it's actually delicious. And it actually gets me excited.
Yeah.
So that transition, and now I can never think of not being this way, and so to your point, it's just changing the way you think about it, like not allowing it to be an excuse, right? And taking that ownership, like I'm going to do it now. And like, even though it might hurt and it's uncomfortable, long term, it's going to have the best effects.
Yeah. And it's crazy, because I was telling Alina this morning, I was like, when people say like, I'm lazy, oh, I'm not feeling like it, I'm lazy. The word lazy is just a form of, you're literally saying, oh, I'm not going to do that because I don't, it's a choice. Like I don't want to do it.
Point blank.
Yeah, it's just like an excuse word, because and you're making a choice to be lazy. Like, what does lazy really even mean? It's just like,
I don't want to.
Yeah,
I can, but I don't want to.
Yeah, it's like, so I never say that word, but I used to be like, oh yeah, like before, when I was in my early 20s, like, when did you ever see me go to the gym,
Never.
Exactly.
But you always stayed in fit, so it was kind of weird how that worked out for you.
And then I think also within food, you touch on it, because when we came to this country, like we started seeing like the food that people eat. I love pasta. I love all of that. trust me, like I do eat what I want to eat, but it's limited into like it's not every day that I'd eat something. And I think a lot of people also can reduce a lot of oil that they use and like butter that they use, cheese that they use. Like it doesn't have to be so much, but when I see people like, I remember seeing my ex like before like cooking, and they would put so much butter and like oil. I'm like, are you gonna like? And
so much
I was probably
fat.
that annoying person in the kitchen, like trying to be like, do you need it? Because it but I knew that it was gonna taste the same. There was no need for like all that extra, and I think it's just like understanding your food and what you're putting in your body too, because
100%.
it could taste the same and just a lot healthier
and more delicious.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring it up. This is like another area I geek out on, so you're gonna be going. But like I went through so many trial and errors with figuring out, like I went from eating meat, like I mentioned, then going to vegan, straight vegan, figuring out how to Google research. Do your research, like it will be there. Trial and error, figure out what you like, what you don't like, and what you find delicious, and find substitutes like you said. But like don't limit yourself to things that you enjoy to eat. Like I have my occasional hot Cheetos. Is it horrible for my gut? Absolutely. My ice cream, my pasta, right? Same with you. But we have to give ourselves almost that reward, or maybe eventually you might even outgrow that, or you might even like it as much. But I followed this thing. It was like that 80-20 rule with even food, where I'm like, okay, majority of my week, like Monday through Friday, I'm going to limit as much processed foods. I'm going to cut out my Diet Cokes. That's my recent thing I had to cut out. Yeah, I got addicted for, I don't know why, but I did. Limit my caffeine in the morning, like being more aware of what's coming in, because it is so true. Medicine is like one thing, but food is also medicine for your body. And if you can heal yourself inside out, take account of what you're eating. And like what you said, oils, butters, like people even, it's mindless.
Yeah.
People are like, I eat healthy, but you're drenching your food in these saturated fats or oils, right? So, and it can start small, because you don't want to hate yourself or the diet, because you'll fall off in that case. But slow changes will compound, almost like money, right? It will compound. And then you might have somebody in your life that now that you're doing this, maybe they've always been doing it, and now you can like see what they're doing and try it, and that's kind of what me and my fiance did. Like osmosis, being together is he was not vegetarian or vegan or anything. He ate everything actually. And then because I was always the one cooking, he just ended up falling in love with the food. And your gut, it changes your gut microbiome. So when you eat bad food, you'll kind of pay attention, you'll start craving more of it.
And I think it was one of my clients, because I had a client obviously qualifying for like life insurance, and obviously we do a lot of medical check. And there was I think he was back in the day, he had depression or anxiety or some sort of medical, like something mental like that, disorder, mental disorder in his medical record. And he said it literally was like, he's like, I'm fine the moment I switched my food around. And I actually did research on it, and it's true, like the food that you eat could actually be affecting you mentally
so much,
and
like
we don't even know it.
100%. I can 100% agree to that, because when I eat like not the best, when I eat what I want, my cheat days, but if I overindulge, my brain fog, I'm feeling like less confident, my energy's low, like it literally shifts the way you feel. And so that's when I tell you, like if I'm not in the gym for at least like, if I go 3 days without going, I'm like, man, I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
And one story too I want to like just share is my dad. He's been somebody that I'm really proud of and I admire. And he, in his early 30s, was at a point, he was eating anything, right? You're young, but it caught up to him. And he was, overweight at that point. And he got a scare at the doctor. They said, you're at risk for heart issues, like heart attack. My grandfather actually had heart attacks. So he was seeing it, right? What could happen down the road. And it scared him. And I remember like, he came home and he just switched up his diet, ate fish. Like we went on a diet as a family. It was the best for me because I was like, yes, finally, I've been wanting this for my family. But they have to want it, right? They have to choose. And you just be that example. But he did. And now He's in his 60s. He rides, yesterday he just messaged me and Aj a picture, and he rode 20 miles on his bike. And I know he wouldn't mind me sharing this, but my grandfather ended up passing away about 2 weeks ago now, and that's his dad. And he ate very, unhealthy and ate what he wanted and greasy food. And that does impact the heart and the arteries. So he had multiple heart attacks. His soul rest in peace. And my dad had to go through a lot, dealing with that. And he hadn't been able to ride his bike or work out. And just yesterday we were talking, and he said, man, I feel so back to myself. Like, I feel so much better. Like, I'm out of the house. I feel amazing. And it was just like that switch. And you could do that by just getting active.
You go, Henry.
Let's go, Dad. Love you, Henry. But yeah, like, man, so to see our parents do things like that, it inspires me. And to be honest, doing what I did, like with the running, what we talked about last episode, he told me that inspired him.
Aww.
And I'm like, little old me, I didn't think that, but my dad, and so I'll never stop. But yeah, it's one of those things that what you eat, how you move, if you don't move, that will literally impact you in all areas. And that's actually what I want to ask you too, is like, we're touching on that, is do you feel that, like, when you're cycling, when you're doing things, like, do you feel different, like your energy and how you show up in your like conversations, relationships with people? Do you notice that?
It's natural, like, I feel like it's like natural drug of like, you just feel good, you can perform better, you have clear mind, and you just have to find what you like. One thing that you ended up falling in love with was running, right? And that works for you. And then for me, it was cycling. Like, I started getting into cycling, and I loved it because it's just, I don't like going to the gym and like waste, like being there for 2-3 hours. Like, we're on a time crunch, like I'm there, I want to get and to be honest, I don't like going to the gym like that. Like, I'm not a gym rat, like anything like that. So, but when I go, I want to make sure I get a good workout in and I do the job, and then, done. And you feel
so yeah, no, it's a time thing too, for sure. And like, it's intense. Cycling's really intense.
I love it because it's like there's so much music, momentum, and you're in the zone with all these people, and they're like dancing on the cycling. There's like energy and it's a really quick, and I think it's really great, especially if you don't know where to begin. It's like going to any of these classes because you have instructor helping you, and you're in the environment of people doing it, and you're not gonna just like, if it gets hard, you're not gonna just like walk out. I mean, maybe you will, but
don't quit. That's what sports have taught us. Don't quit.
But because if you go to the gym by yourself and you're just getting into it, you might not know like what machine to do. You might feel like, and then you don't have like sense of direction or whatever. So I think it's a great intro for people going into like any type of fitness classes, because like everybody's doing it, so you just get in the zone and you knock out like great cardio within 45 minutes. You're like sweating.
I agree. That's such a good point, is like for people who are newer, I never thought of it like that, where I've always been around it, but like people who are newer, just introducing them to a class, and then take what you can from that class and then start playing around with, even at home, like you don't have to be at the gym. I actually canceled, me and Aj, we canceled our membership because we're like, we're spending $50 a month, and like we have a gym here at the apartment. This is before we got a house, and we canceled it, and we're like, let's start doing things at home. Like, you can get bands, you can get little like push-up bars they have at home, and literally you can bust out 10 and then get your little sweat on, so being like, having fun with it, honestly, and like what you said, like enjoy it, because when you enjoy something, like especially when you're working out, it's like it's a win. You feel good, you enjoy it, you're challenging yourself. And that's actually something too, like the challenge. That's what I'm obsessed with, is like that edge, and like, for example, even with the running, and I'm sure you relate, like even cycling, there comes that point you're like, man, I want to give in, I want to give up. Everybody, I think, goes through that. But when you push through, one, you're like, damn, I did it. Like, I didn't stop. This hurts so good. And I think that's what has to change, is like the hurt. It hurts so good. And one thing I really like, it changed the way I push through with like running, for example. There was a runner, and I can't remember the name. I want to give her credit, but she is a beast. She runs like 100 plus 200 miles, like races.
Oh my God.
She's like strongest, very, very strong.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her mental, and it was an interview. And she said, it's my self-talk, because there is a point like with running, especially when, I've ran the half I mentioned and the marathon, like by mile 20, like I'm at war. Like my brain, my body wants to stop. It's in pain. It's the most excruciating, like getting over. But I applied it when I'm running now, and it's her self-talk. And she said, I tell myself, I will keep going. I am strong. I will not stop. So when I get to that point of breaking, I say those things in my head, and then it unlocks a new level. And
that's so powerful.
It's so powerful, because that's even happened with business. When I think it's over, I'm like, heck no, it's not. Like, I got to show up this day. I got to show up this week. Like, there's still time on the board, And so it definitely transitions like hand in hand, because you pretty much are where you go. And yeah, that's a big piece that I've taken, is just like learning from people that are doing more than me in that area.
Yeah.
You
and gotta put yourself in that environment, and then that inspires you, and then you could inspire the next person, and it's just like a ripple effect all around, and you gotta get in the game of that like self-talk. I love that you touched on it, because you create your own reality. So whatever you think you're able to do, you're gonna, and that's why I was thinking the other day, it's you gotta aim high, because you can get there, and it's like a lot of times people are so afraid of put a goal up there, because they're so afraid of failure, and that they let their self-doubt and all these negativity and all these, because it's two voice in your mind, right? Like, but you got to exercise that positive mindset, that positive voice that's telling you, and you get to tell yourself that. Nobody gets to tell you. Like, if I have a negative talk, I literally am like, okay, what can I change that's positive, and then immediately implementing that positive affirmation to yourself, then your whole state of mind completely changes. And you're like, one more. That's that's like the biggest thing I tell myself when it's when in fitness, right? It's like one more. Even in business, when I feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm like going through this like phase, and I'm like, one more, and Ed Mullet talks about
Shout
that.
out
But
Ed
it
Mullet.
like
Power of one more. Get the book if you have it. No, it's so good. That's like a tangible thing right there. It's that one more rep, one more call, one more like interaction. And another thing too, since I think it goes with that, is like that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah.
Like get up and go.
Robbins.
Mel Robbins. We're shouting everyone out.
Go.
Yeah, but it's like, get up and go. Don't get in your head too long, because you're gonna think yourself out of it, and then like the action will it will get rid of any of that doubt. It will get rid of procrastination. It will get rid of, you just getting held up and not starting because you're thinking too much. So also, let's also touch on, because we obviously fitness is fun to us, but like, let's talk about fun. Like,
let's have fun.
Yeah,
right
let's
now.
have some more fun before we wrap up here. What are some things that you enjoy doing, like when you're not working on the business or with the family, or maybe that is fun to you, but like, what is your form of fun nowadays?
I love winning, so
that is fun.
That is fun already. But I'm a foodie too, so I love experiences. I love eating good food, and for me, it's like eating, and I think it's because like the culture too, like in Korean culture, it's a lot of food, and we will have food and just talk with one another and just chat, and to me that's that what is it, personal time that you get with the what is it called, there's the 5 love languages.
Quality time.
Quality time. Yeah.
Yes.
Quality time. But eating, breaking breads together, like for me, that's really fun. And obviously doing any type of activity that's like, because obviously a lot of the times I'm at the office or I'm in the business, like working on the business. And for me, like, honestly, that's a form of fun for me, like building something, building a future, helping other people. So it's form of fun. But if I'm not doing that, I guess I love to travel. I love any type of experiences. I'm like the person that will never say like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, like if I haven't done something, I want to do it, you know.
Like camping.
Yeah.
We went camping for the first time.
Yeah, I was so excited. And
that was a crazy story.
We'll get into it another day.
She went camping, everyone. Okay, we got her outside in the but yeah,
stories. But even like my uncle was really into water ski and stuff like that. And when we go back to Korea, we would do those things. And I was like, yeah, I've never done it, but I'll try it. And, you know, and then I loved it. You know, so I love like anything outdoors. Honestly, I do love. A lot of people don't know that about me because I don't. You know, I'm always doing business, but
no,
I do love this stuff. Yeah. What about for you?
Yeah, kind of similar. I love anything outside. So like running, obviously, is just like my big form of fun. And running not at the gym. Lately I've done that, but like exploring, and like that's one thing I mentioned is that we travel and we like to run because it's like you see things and places you wouldn't in a car. Yeah. And you kind of feel like a local, you know, you get to like get a different view of the city. But I love that. I love spending time with my dad and my fiance and my sister and like the family, you know, close people. I think as I've gotten older, I cherish that so much that it's like so fun to me to like, even if we make dinner, like tonight we're going to go to my dad and we're going to make dinner. But yeah, just that quality time, making memories. I have the best time. And of course, like eating out's always a fun thing for me too, like new restaurants. But another thing I really find fun with my fiance is we like to play chess at night. And I get very competitive there too. But checkmate. Yeah, I'm like checkmate with a little pawn, but I've done that before. No. But yeah, I think those are my big forms of fun. And one thing recently I've done that was really uncomfortable was I backpacked with a group of friends, and it was actually in the snow. And it was like very, very uncomfortable for me. I've never done it, but it was fun. And there was moments where I was like questioning everything in the world because we were hiking on like 3 foot of snow, but it was still fun, you know? And once we got there, I got to experience like meet new people and then like do things outdoors I've never really do and just be with myself. I love that. I love being disconnected from like the phone and like anything like, you know, we tend to business, but like just having that day or whatever, I find that super fun because then I can just be me, be with myself and the people I love. But yeah. And then like with you, I feel like I have the most fun eating out with like when we go to restaurants and just sit and we're going to talk business, but then we end up talking for like an hour about finally catching up. We're not catching up on the podcast. It's
like 5 minutes of actual
business.
Like, business content. We're like, all right, great meeting. Much needed. I feel like I could conquer it now.
On top of the world.
But yeah, we have a lot of fun together.
Yes,
and there's so much more to come. And traveling, I mean, exploring different city. It's going to be good. She's got to come to, her and Aj got to come to Korea.
That's a big bucket list.
Yeah.
Next year
we're doing it. And I definitely like during summertime, like being able to go travel with the team.
Yeah,
that would be really, really
the cabin
fun.
that we're planning for.
January.
That's fun to us. Is like team outings when we get our team together. Like we have November. We're gonna do like a big game event. You know, place and. Get the team. San Diego.
And then we got the cabin trip. So there's always something fun. And it's because like we're surrounded, and again, they're our teammates, but they're also like our friends in business. And so it goes all the way back to, you know, our other episode talking about friendship and just people around you, you know, having a winning culture. These are people that I like seeing every day, talking to every day, you know, so it feels really good. Just as long as we can spend quality time, you know,
it's fun.
That's it. But wow, that was amazing to talk about our fitness and a little bit of our fun, and you'll get to hear more of our, you know, stories in the future. But thank you guys for being with us.
And next week I think we're going to do something a little bit more fun, so stay tuned. Okay, we're going to keep it going. But yes, we love you, we are grateful for you, and we'll see you next one.
Bye.